I feel like I don't think of myself as account services. I jumped to account services because the opportunity was there. I was hungry. I was hungry to learn. I didn't care what the job was. If I have to work till midnight, I will do it. And I think that's kind of what set me apart. And now there is a downside to that where if you're not careful, you can just be the one doing the work too long. But I think now being in an account services role, I used to be a creative PM. I used to work at a boutique. I know, like, would work with the creatives because they kind of like, you have like a stigma of like, oh, that's the
account
side.
That's
the account side.
Shade isn't a place you hide. It's where you pause, where you think, where real work happens. Quietly, creatively, and authentically. No slides, no filters. Just candid conversation about a story worth telling. It's not about villains. This is where brand builders, creatives, and storytellers come to share the stories they usually don't tell in pitch decks or press releases. It's about the people who work behind the scenes, challenge the obvious, bend the rules, or build unforgettable brands. This is
Shady Characters.
Well, today on Shady Characters, we're honored to be joined by Ana Gallego. She's an account supervisor at Enotion. She's also an amazing creative at heart and a really great friend who we used to have the pleasure of working with on the daily basis. And it's so fun to have you back here just so that we can kind of catch up with you. And you're doing amazing things, which we always knew that you would. And I'm really excited to hear more about that and kind of see where your creative journey started and flowed through Thatch and is now taken you. So thank you for coming on.
Thanks. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. You know, I've been wanting to do this for a while, so
I know.
I'm excited.
So one of the things that we will talk about is Ana and I had a race to start a podcast first, and I think that I can say I won.
Yeah, whatever.
But
I'm Latina. We're late all the time, so.
But
that's very true.
Yeah.
Is
it's a
Contenta
cultural thing.
still coming?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it for sure is. I've got stuff in my pocket, as you know. And
What
you
is
hold on to
Contenta?
it.
Contenta.
Contenta.
Contenta. So
Arriba.
it's just something that I thought of it was like in 2021. I was
been a
sitting with
while.
a friend.
Yeah.
She's actually a roommate of mine, and they were a videographer, photography, like couple, very, again, that production, creative space. We were chit-chatting, and I love wordplay. I love my Latina identity. I was just kind of thinking, like, how do I tell stories and give myself a platform? I've always been a little bit of like an entertainer at heart. So I wanted to blend like culture, juicy conversations, and so content is like content, you know, and I wanted to produce content. I want to produce content. And it makes me really happy to do it. And so in Spanish, contenta means happy. So I thought, okay, like, let's make content that makes you feel refreshed and happy. And I'm not sure exactly what the topics will cover exactly. I think it'll be very wide range, but specifically in like, for me, like that creative at heart that didn't really fall in the like producer, creative, graphic designer role, like the traditional, you know, that you see. So, and I think we can get into this later. I think with AI developing the way it is, it's kind of cool for people like me because it accelerates the opportunity for you to produce great stuff without really having that skill set traditionally.
Yeah, I think you touched on something interesting there in that, you know, we use the term creative, and it's a pretty broad term, right? And yes, a photographer is a creative, a painter is a creative, a musician is a creative, but there's so many creatives that, you know, the stroke of their pen is different in life, right? And I think that one of the things that I've always admired about you is that you have such a creative approach to how you tackle problems, and you just approach things a little bit differently and in a way that is always, the result ends up being so amazing. And to me, that is a brilliant creative, right? So it's really cool to see how different creatives use their pen, I guess, if you will, right?
Yeah, no, that's like you said it. I can't say it any better. I mean, like, you can use creativity not just to produce great art that people admire, but for me, maybe this is a little type A of me, but like processes and systems and I had a psychology background that I thought I was going to do it. I couldn't afford the master's. That was too expensive. So I went for communications. Yeah.
Hey, I'm a communications too.
No
You know
problem.
what? All three of us. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I went for
But
comm.
mine is business communications.
Okay,
Yeah.
business communications. I was not good at math, so I was like, I'm gonna avoid
Same.
the
Yeah.
business college. So I'm not doing that. So I went for like more of the writing aspect, it was PR actually that I was majoring in. But I think for me, learning a little bit more about, again, psychology background, organizational behavior and people, and how do you get to a common goal with all these different personalities and all these different goals and ideas. To me, it's like a little system. So like the way that you, even like coming in here, like the energy that you had music on, it just changes your whole mindset. And I think that's how you can produce great work, when you're like in sync, both energetically and then the process. Everyone speaks the same language, everybody understands. So, but not everybody loves process. So it sounds scary.
There's a learning curve to this stuff though, right? And so when you've gone from company to company, everyone's got a different process. How do you feel like, you've been able to add your creativity into a process that it's already existing? Or is there a challenge in how do you feel your own identity in that creative process?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess I'm understanding it as like, how do I apply my unique kind of perspective to a process?
I think one of the
something
things
that's existing.
Yeah, one of the things that is so unique about you is that you find a creative way to execute a process. But if I come into an organization that already has a pre-established process, then does that mean I'm being stunted creatively because I'm being forced to fit into a box when really I'm a round peg?
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I think the best example of that would be like at my current role, going to, a big company such as an Ocean.
Yeah.
The process was already made and it was already I just kind of jumped into it. So my approach with that, I'm always going to try to find ways to make things better, but I know that you kind of have to sit, wait, learn before you open your mouth and try to change things. So, and also I was a nobody. It was just like starting off in this big pool of people. So I think after I learned the process of the role that I had when I started, you start to, for my approaches with people and talking to them, maybe it's a psychology background in me where I'm like, who are the people here in power? What do they know about this role? And how interested are they in changing it? And then once you gauge, who is the one that is understanding of like, okay, maybe employee turnover and, people's bandwidth is a problem. So once I identified like, hey, we're doing this process, and I don't want to like completely bag on it, so I'm not going to go into too detail about it, but the specific process I'm talking about was insane. Like the amount of work that we did for like these regional like TV spots is insane. And once I flagged it as, if you were to simplify this process, how much creative bandwidth would you gain from not having to stay up to do this 8, 9, 10 hours a day? And I think that took a lot of time to get to where it was. I eventually jumped to another team that had no process, so then I could do exactly that.
You could go, hey, these are the things that didn't work over here. This is what I wished we had.
Yeah.
I'm going to implement that now.
Yeah. And then the cool thing with that is like I learned a lot of like, navigating the people who maybe are not as fond or open to change, and the ones that are really to adopt it.
I think that's probably, you get a lot of guys that are set in their ways, and they probably look down on the new person that's going to come in and shake things up and disrupt their kind of everyday life. So I bet that's probably an ongoing challenge.
For sure.
I think part of it too is that, processes exist to make you more efficient, but over time and evolution, you talked about it, you touched on it already a little bit, is that, AI is disrupting this space, and AI is disrupting many spaces, but we're finding ways that one person can be so much more efficient if you're using tools in a really effective way. And all of a sudden those processes can be more simplified because there are things happening on the back end if you're creative about it.
Yeah, if you're creative about it, yeah. And if you're, I want to say creative and I want to say responsible also, because I do have a little bit of whenever AI is brought up, I think I'm aware that it's a sensitive topic for maybe people who are like not as open to adopting it, but I think it's really important to still know the grassroots, the tradition, the way things were made, so that you can use AI in a way that you understand like the building blocks to it. So I'm talking specifically of like, if you're gonna make, like I used Runway for the first time in a while. And I thought that was such a cool way to produce visuals. I remember as a kid, I used to say, I wish there was a machine that you could plug in and make your dreams come on screen. That's literally what that is. You can, and if you know how to creatively prompt and write, that to me is a foundation, like good
Somebody
writing.
still has to be creative and have to plug in the prompts.
You still have to plug it in. You still have to be able to understand, like, how does that message impact people? How does it resonate? All the things that you need to do to create like a visual piece or some kind of a message. So I thought that was just important to say. Yeah.
We've all seen that like robots are coming to help us with all our daily tasks that we
Can't wait till a
want to
robot
do.
helps me put on my
I was going to
shoes.
say, on the count of 3, who do we think's going to have the first robot out of the 3 of us? Because I think it's
right
Tim
here.
for sure.
Yeah, for
Tim's
sure,
gonna go,
Tim.
this
Yeah.
robot does my dishes and folds my laundry.
My robot driver. Oh my God, a day I don't have to
Driver?
drive anymore.
I won't even get in a Waymo car. No.
If I see Waymos, I take them just to go for a ride.
Dude, no.
He's not even going anywhere. He just wants us to drive him around.
Take me around the
See Tim
block.
going in circles around here in San Juan Capistrano.
So how did you find your way into this role that you're in now? Let's talk a little bit about that, because when we met you, you were on your second job out of college, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Kinda?
No-ish. So, oh my gosh, that's a fun story. Well, yeah, I was a server, so that got me through college.
You'll never guess where she was a server with
El
this
Torito.
red hair.
Arriba.
Ruby's
Yeah,
Diner.
good old Ruby's
Yeah,
Diner.
Match
the
the
white and red
I
outfit.
still have my
pinstripes.
first uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
It
sleeves
probably
are
makes a
cut
great
off.
Halloween costume.
El
I've worn it
Torito was
for
a pretty
I
good
remember
guess.
I got off of a shift and I didn't have a costume
Yeah.
and I wore it and it was the candy striper.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. But no, I was a server and then was done with that after graduating. I think for a while I was like managing a retail store with a friend, helping her open it up. I can't do this anymore. I remember applying to my first job. The first big girl job out of college was, the school supply company, and was there for about 3 years, learned a lot, did a lot. Again, also was brought on to kind of build a process that didn't exist. So that's when I realized, I kind of have a knack for this stuff. But once I was like, all right, what's going to be next? I really enjoyed the part of my job there that had to do with like the social media, the taking the photos and, helping the photographer set things up and, helping them with the shot list and coming up with the creative messaging and the brand, the voice. And we used to go walk around and get lunch around here in San Juan Capistrano. And then I saw these 2 dudes, this really tall, redheaded guy with a beard, and then some weirdo.
It was more red back then.
I was going to say, a redheaded guy. I thought you were going to talk about us for a minute.
And I remember grabbing lunch with some friends, or my coworkers at the time, good friends still. And yeah, it was you guys. And I remember asking you, like, what do you guys do? You brought us up to this space. Every single thing you said was like a key word sparking in my mind of like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to learn. That's what I want to try. Like, I want to be on set. I want to produce. I want to be able to learn. And like, I'm only going to get so far with, social media accounts here. It was great. I did a lot of that stuff there, but I I was really tired of it, which I think everyone has been in that position where you're just fed up of something.
Yeah.
So using that as motivation,
Yep.
like this mentality, I emailed you actually, and I said, hey, take me in. I will volunteer. I will do anything, no paycheck required. I just want to learn and I want to be around that. And you said, sure, girl, come on in. Sure. And I remember House of Marley was the first one that I feel like that was kind of my.
Is that roller skating House of Marley?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think it was that one. Yeah. That was, to me, that was my first like big like on set, being there with like, you trusted me to help with the clothing and like and I'll never forget something you told me, which is probably one of the best compliments I got. And you're very eloquent when you speak. I know you know this, and I hope you know this. I was folding the clothes for her and putting the stuff aside and kind of organizing it. And you were observing, probably wondering like, okay, what's this chick about? Like, is she going to be here or is she not? And you said, you're very well orchestrated. And I was like, oh, what a beautiful word to like describe like the symphony of what it is
the symphony of clothes folding.
Yeah, clothing and like people.
I think it was more than that.
People.
I remember recognizing that you had a really great knack for like interacting with all of the from everyone from the crew down to like the different set people, and it just felt like this level of, you had like this immediate comfort and like you kind of just you blended in with all of those different levels in a really, you had like this really ease about it, I guess.
Wow.
I feel like you were only with us for like days before that shoot too. I don't think it was.
Yeah. No,
you know
it was my first like.
I think this is House of Marley right here.
Look, we
actually got
cool. We won some awards for that.
It was, cool. I mean, it was great work, beautiful work, so much fun. Like from the video to the talent.
That was a fun one.
The film, like it was so fun to be a part of, which is funny because then I moved to Long Beach and I could see the building.
We were shooting in Long Beach on that shoot.
Shot in Long Beach. And I was like,
shout out Long Beach.
Yeah, shout out to Long Beach. And after like a year of living there, I was like, wait, that's the building I shot. We changed in that parking lot. Like, what the, okay. So it was a cool, like full circle moment. But I something you touched on, like, I really appreciate you saying that about being able to kind of connect with everybody on set. I think that's also something I've been told here at my job at Enocean. I haven't had too many opportunities yet to be on a big set, like for a major TV production, but you know, when I do go and I've had that opportunity, I've been told, like, one of the producers texted my boss and he's like, all right, Anna's here, all smiles, like saying hi to everybody. And like, I think that comes from maybe my, like, I connect it to like when I was a server because the busboys, the cooks, everything, I don't see you as your title.
Yeah.
You're a person and you're part of that. And if I see you as your title, I'll probably be a little bit more nervous to approach you.
That's a good point.
Like a big client, my trick in my mind when I used to, client connections, that's the one that's harder for me. I get along better with like the producers, the creative, the talent. The clients were like the big scary one to me. I used to think to myself like, all right, if he was at the bar, what drink would he order? Like, what kind of person are you? Are you like an old fashioned dude? Are you getting a wine?
What kind of a drink is Evan?
Tim's a Cosmo guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I knew that.
Evan is a non-alcoholic beer guy.
Non-alcoholic beer. Hey, that sometimes they have some pretty good ones.
Mine at least is a fun drink.
What drink is Anna?
Oh man. I would say the spicy margarita with watermelon.
Oh, that's a good one.
Spicy
I like
Paloma.
That.
Yeah.
Spicy Paloma. I have too much acid reflux for that, but it's all right. I don't do that.
The margarita's just giving gas.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a spicy margarita.
She's got an old soul though, like an old fashioned, I could see. Yeah.
I love an old fashioned, I would say. And that was from my bartender days when I was like, because we had a really good bartender and he was like, all right, girl, when I turned 21, they're like, don't make a face, take a shot of whiskey. And I like took it straight face. Everyone's like, what the fuck? And then I go to the bathroom and I'm like, oh my God. But if you make a good old fashioned and you know how to make it, like it's people are like, oh my God, it's so strong. I'm like, it's like citrusy, you know? Like you gotta make it right.
Those are sipper drinks, by the way. You're just
Yes, you gotta sip them. And tequila is too, actually. It's a sipper, but I can't do that, no.
So when you were with us, you got kind of the account services side of the business, the project management side of the business, and a bit of the production side of the business. And which one of those did you end up choosing to continue to explore, and how are you making those decisions now?
Oh, that's a great question also. Yeah, I think I did see all three sides of those, and it was very hard for me to pigeonhole, I guess, and pick one. Yeah. I think
and if I can just clarify for one thing, like at a smaller agency, like a boutique creative agency, we wear a lot of hats, right?
Yeah.
When you go into a larger creative industry or creative agency, you're gonna be more aligned with one of those roles instead of doing a little bit in a lot of those things, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was just gonna say, you happened into the perfect scenario where you got to come in and try a lot of different things and see what you liked, what you loved, what you gravitated towards. You were also able to help, from a process standpoint, help out a lot here because we're a small shop. We don't have a real like detailed way of doing things. So you were able to learn a lot in a short amount of time, but back over to you, like you kind of cast this wide net of interest, and now you're able to kind of, now that you're at a bigger spot, you hone it into what you really are passionate about.
Yeah, I think seeing them all was extremely helpful for the role that I'm in now, which leans account services. I feel like I don't think of myself as account services. I jumped to account services because the opportunity was there when you're young and you're like, you know, need that door when it opens. You're like, okay, I'm going to take this. And no matter what the role, I was hungry. I was hungry to learn. I didn't care what the job was. If I have to work till midnight, I will do it. And I think that's kind of what set me apart. And now there is a downside to that where if you're not careful, you can just be the one doing the task and the work, you know, too long.
Sure.
But I think now being in an account services role, it's funny. I was very nervous to like tell people. I used to be a creative PM. I used to work at a boutique. I know like would work with the creatives because they kind of like, you have like a stigma of like, oh, that's the
account
side.
That's
the account side. They're going to ask us for stuff. They don't understand that. They're not creative. And I'd be like, no. I'm on your side. Like I get it, you know, and not fully do I get it, but enough to like understand like your process to tackle something. I'm going to write a brief and give it to you and expect the work the next day. Usually that's kind of, or next 2 days, but you know, for a creative, you have so many other projects in your mind. Sometimes you need a minute to absorb it and to marinate in it and understand what the ask is. Go back and ask your questions. If you don't have time for that, then the work is just corny. Like you're not producing your best work. So I think now being in an account service role at a creative agency, there are a couple thoughts that came up when you mentioned like the 3 buckets. I think I was really against being siloed in one. Yeah. I hated it. I hated the idea of you're just an account person and that's all you'll do. But I had to do it to learn. And now I think in 2026, it's interesting to see the agency go to like what I call boutique agency mentality. Unfortunately lost our entire department of project managers. But what was that for? It's so that account can work directly with the creatives and have a little bit more control. It used to be. It's how it used to be. That's what all of the, you know, SVPs and people who have been in the industry.
When I was in a big agency, I was basically the middle person between the client and the creative.
Yeah, no, it's
sold
so
creative, so
nice.
I had to understand it.
It's so nice to have the understanding and like less messenger, you know, and like or telephone, if you will, like kind of losing what the goal of the strategy is, the goal of the, you know, the whole concept.
Yeah, it gets diluted through each one of those steps. So you remove some of those steps and it stays more potent.
And this is no offense to any project managers out there. I actually love the art of being able to manage a project. But yeah, having to almost brief that team on what the goal, because they're worried about the logistics. They're not so much worried about the client. Like they're protecting the creative team. So I think I think there was an identification in that at the company, which I still think project management is a skill and a tool that everyone needs and needs to have. Maybe your role won't be project manager, but that's at least at our place. I think it's harder for some roles too, like the .com or CRM side of things, like the people who are a little bit more studio minded, just like what they call is like, you just give them the ticket and they just do the work, Those roles I think were impacted a lot more without project managers.
Sure.
So I think kind of segued here, but went off on a tangent. But account services, but with I think the mindset of what is the production, what's their top of mind, what's the client's top of mind. I really like sitting in the middle.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little bit of a know-it-all, and I like being able to address each side and speak to it, you know?
You mentioned something around wanting to function like a boutique agency, which we obviously are a boutique agency, and Ocean is not. What types of things do you guys do to kind of bring that scale back down to kind of function more like a small lean team?
You fire half your team.
You guys,
you fire half your team.
We reduce headcount.
You don't have a you don't have a choice.
Boom, we're done.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. I was so proud to say that I came from like a place. I'm like, yeah, it was just like a very small core team, and you expand if you need based off of the job.
It's like a modern day agency, yeah.
It is. It's like a little mini agency, and I feel like every team like kind of operated like a little mini agency on tackled different projects, and I think that's kind of what we're moving toward, which feels pretty modern for like an agency these days. Because, like you said, I feel like we're going back to the roots of it, just direct account and creatives. I don't know if people in leadership there think of it as, making it a boutique style agency, but I think one way to get there, yes, fire half your department.
Not the ideal way to get there.
Not the ideal way, for sure.
Let's keep people employed.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But I think there's like a system that they're trying to create. It's like squads and pods, they're calling it, which sounds a little corny, but it's like you have your core team, which is almost like they could operate as their own little agency. It's the strategist, the producer, the account person. So you have all sides of the business kind of working to execute one campaign. And I feel like that's really nice because before we were approaching it as all the social team, all the .com team, all the CRM team, all these buckets and channels need to all be involved with this one campaign, and you're stripping those parties from, they're not even paying attention in the meeting anyways. If you have like a 50-person meeting, no one's paying attention. You just need 5 core people.
Because there's not really responsibility for everyone there, right?
It's not a responsibility for everybody, and there's nothing actionable for you in that time. It's maybe they're like, oh, we're spreading the knowledge about the new brief, the new brand work, but it's not impactful. And that's where I go back to process. I'm like, that process doesn't work. It's diluted. Like you just need one core person from each channel, and then they disseminate the work into either your evergreen work or whatever to kind of ladder it up to the brand that everyone's trying to build. But I don't know if I answered your question, but I think it kind of operates that way.
I think
in a bit.
By working in like smaller pockets instead of this big conglomerate organization, it kind of at least puts a more focused team that actually has responsibility and ownership of the stuff they're working on, right? Did I understand that correctly?
You did, and I'm thinking, as you're saying it, I thought of something else. I think the difference with a boutique agency and a larger agency is if you're in a creative boutique agency, you're almost forced to all be on the same page with one common goal. At a larger agency, there's a little bit more like territorialism, if that's a word. It's a little bit more like if you're not everybody, but I've seen this. If you're a brand director, combining your strategy with the social team, it's almost like a power struggle. Like but where if you're here and you're brand and social, it's like it just doesn't feel as like this is my strategy.
It's
a little bit more collaborative, a lot more, I would say. And again, what do I know? I only have limited experience, but it's from what I've seen.
Genius is not exclusive to one single person, by the way. Yeah. So everyone has a
collective.
Valid opinion. Evan might disagree because he likes his opinions, but.
But there's always going to be that, but it's more impactful in like a larger space, I guess.
Yeah.
Your opinion's diluted.
Yeah.
You know, you're small fish.
I think you're right, that especially here, like I love the way that this team works very cohesively, and I think everyone's opinion matters. And that's, I mean,
even if you don't agree, you're going to say
we've tried to build it that way by design, though.
Yeah. And I felt very like respected. Like my opinion felt valid here, where if you go to like a bigger place, if that was like my first kind of job out of college, I can see how people who are working their way up in like a typical corporate 9 to 5, you almost like hold back from giving your opinion. You hold back from giving your suggestions because you're just like a small fish in a big pond, where maybe I was too naive, you know, which is good, but I was just kind of like, why can't I say what I want? Like, what do you mean?
I don't think anyone could stop you from saying what you want, by the way.
Yeah, no.
If they try to, then Svetlana comes out and...
Yeah.
Then it's not Anna saying it.
Yeah, no. I have no responsibility over what Svetlana says, so she's her own character. Yeah.
So is account services, Anna, is that where we want to be, or where do we want to go from here?
That's a good question. I definitely weasel my way into the production room a lot.
You still have an interest in that.
That itch is there forever. It will never go away. I think because I've been doing so well on the account side of things, you kind of like stay comfortable.
Sure.
But I'm learning to just accept that opportunity will always be there for so long. The window will close. You get older, you get more, ingrained in your role. But I think I still have a couple of things to learn in the account side that when I make the switch, I think it'll give me an edge. Like to understand, let's say you do become like a social producer, which is where you would probably start at a place like an Ocean, or content producer, smaller projects. I think it gives you an edge to like understand what is the account person thinking, what is their, goal.
Sure. I guess. The biggest thing you need to realize is, how do I keep the creative idea intact?
Yeah.
And but still,
and keep
obviously,
the client happy.
Yeah.
So and right now you're cross training, right? Because you know how to keep the client happy, and you're interested in how do you keep the creative concept intact, and you're going to be able to merge those things, be super Anna eventually, where you've got all of those things figured out, and you're going to have this cross-trained, desire and ability to blend all of those things together, right? Which will be really cool.
Yeah, and I see you do that here, which is really cool. And someday I hope to have something like this where you just like,
a podcast? I have those. Remember, I won.
You won on this one, but don't worry, I'll be on the rise.
Do you have any dreams or goals of going to the client side and actually being the recipient of all this stuff? I think that the thing that's funny that I don't think most people realize is that is the person has the most control.
Yeah.
That they are the ones, they are like, if you take all these learnings and you go actually to a brand and implement that stuff, that's actually at the highest end of this whole pyramid.
Because they're writing the check?
And the idea is for them. I mean, they are the ones that, if it's like, this idea is coming in, but I am the owner of that brand and that brand's vision. Like everything that you are producing comes up to me for approval.
Yeah.
They're on the productions. They're part of picking and approving everything that goes in. They're just not doing the legwork.
Yeah. That's a good, also great question. And I hadn't really thought about it until now. I've maybe considered it, but never seriously.
But the problem is, I think a lot of clients are very complacent, and it's just like, you tell me what I need.
Yeah.
So there's two different types of clients. And so it just depends what type of
But in your
a marketing
example,
leader
like
you are.
switching from like being, if you're in a role like mine where you're in an agency, we do have a client who worked at Inocean and now he's, on the client side, which is great because he understands like it's a lot more fluid to work with him.
Yep.
And I asked him, like, well, would you ever come back to agency side? He didn't even let me finish my question. He said, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And
I
was
also
like,
said
okay.
that.
Okay, yeah. Well, maybe
Here I
once
am.
you're on that side, you see it. But I think my answer for now is when you said you're not doing the legwork, I was like, nah, I want to do legwork. Yeah. I don't want to be so far removed from it that I will always have that like, oh, I wish I was there wrapping the cord, like, I don't know. Like, I just want to be immersed in the, and also your identity as a client changes, and it's the same thing. Like your goals are different, and who knows? I'm saying that now, but
Yeah, as you get older, you're gonna like that whole thought process will 100% change. But you
my
don't know,
priorities
now
now
you're
are
there.
not like not doing the legwork, I guess, if you will. I'm totally in that space where I'm wanting to learn it still. So yeah, but that's a good question. Maybe I'll consider it.
I think one of the things that I always think about when I think fondly to when we had the opportunity to work with you is that you were always interested and eager in like learning the next thing, in maybe seeing something that you were curious about and figuring out a way to tackle that or make that a part of your job, right? And I think that to me that stood out so much because there's so many, and you're younger than me, and I think oftentimes that the younger generation maybe doesn't have as much like motivation or eagerness, or isn't willing to like get their feet wet to actually learn something. Maybe they're a little more entitled for it to come to them, and that's not what I ever saw in you, right? I felt like you were always the one that was like, oh yeah, if I'm into that, I'm going to get down in the trenches and I'm actually going to make sure that I understand that thing. And that's a really great trait to have. Is that something that that came naturally to you, or is that something that was ingrained in you from, through your family or through how you were brought up, or where did you learn that? Please tell me so I can make sure my daughters possess this.
I concur everything he just said, by the way.
Yeah, I think your daughters are doing great, by the way. So already immersing them in that world is going to give them that hunger. But I think I love that question because I guess I have two answers for it. One, culture, two, my generation, like I think I'm on that like zillennial, we call it. I'm right on the cusp of being Gen Z minded, but I definitely identify more millennial minded, if you will, and for whatever that means to you. But I think the millennial mindset is almost like, you graduate from college, you work, you go for in the trenches. That generation is slowly fading. I understand Gen Zs. Like, we actually did that project with the 4As, and it was how to get Gen Zs to Vegas. So I got to learn so much about them and why they operate. That too, how to get them to work. And it's not even about work. It's just interesting because it's almost like we won't get into why Gen Z is the way they are. I think there's a lot of factors to that. And it's almost like now I understand them to say, like, it's like a facade. You don't have to work the 9-to-5 corporate job. Like they've seen success outside of like the traditional. So I think now that's why you see them pave their own path. They don't stay at jobs for more than a year because they know they can jump somewhere else and get probably better, which I think that was something that I didn't really think about when I was very much like, you have to earn your stripes, be there for 3 years, do 4 years minimum kind of a thing. And maybe it was helpful. Maybe it wasn't. For me, it was helpful because I that's kind of where I am today. So one part is, my age, my generation. And then the other part, which I'm very proud of, is I think being a first generation, Latina here. My mom's from Mexico. My dad's from Colombia. They came here. They instilled that mentality. My dad was very work. Like you, not in the workaholic sense, burn yourself out, but he was very proud of his work. He was very proud to, you know, be a hard worker. And I think that was something that I learned at a very young age. Working in a restaurant, working, you know, late nights, and it didn't really feel like work because you're around people that you like. So I think I started to understand at a young age, like, work is always going to be hard, but if you're surrounded by people that are pretty fun and kind of make it enjoyable, then yeah, why don't you stick in the trenches with them for a little bit and see where you go, because it can grow.
I feel like you and I had this conversation when you were leaving, and I was like, you're going to go there, and maybe my breakdown of it was accurate, maybe it wasn't, but it's like that my experience was exactly what you're saying. It's like you have a group of people that are working together that are so awesome, that are your friends, but you guys are getting beat up. You're getting beat up together. You're there in the trenches. It's long days. It's long nights, but it's like it's pleasant because of the
Trauma
culture,
bonding?
the culture that's there.
Yeah.
So that when you went there at first, it was during COVID. And so it was a lot of work at home. I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine working at an agency during COVID, because the great part about working at an agency is being at the agency. So it's great that you're there now 3 days a week because you get to experience that. But I think maybe that's where you're going. It's like that there is this cool camaraderie that it is a horrible environment because it is like a sweatshop, but the glass is half full moment is because of all the great people that you're with.
Yeah, that's true. You touched on two interesting points, because like I said, like I'm kind of that zillennial cusp where I got to I saw a little bit of the go to the office, like TV agency where people are running to their desks because they have like a deadline or there's crazy stuff going on. I did mostly was there during COVID, and we were all remote. Then we went to like a hybrid setting. I really enjoy the camaraderie. I really enjoy, you know, being around people that are in the same mindset as you. Of course, it's nice to work from home. I also, maybe you guys heard this too during COVID, like you almost worked a little bit more when you're in COVID because you're just stuck to your computer. Whereas I would go to the office and I'd get there like 9:30, and then you're like reading your stuff. Yeah, let's go for coffee. Let's talk. But then I always question, like, which one's most efficient? Like, what is more, maybe the breaks between work and getting a coffee with your coworkers, you're subconsciously thinking about that project in the back of your mind. And that's kind of how creativity happens. You just like, you don't need to sit in front of it. You can go for a walk. You can take a break. Your brain's still working, you know, but yeah, I still don't want to go every day though.
I don't know if Evan knows this guy in particular, but I have a friend. He's on the board at Stance. He was like one of the very, very, very higher ups there at Stance Socks.
Yeah. I remember those.
And I was talking, we were having a conversation. It was me and another guy. And he's like, why do you guys put all this money into the building with a basketball court and a gym and a skate park and like a chef? Like, isn't that just wasting money? And he's like, no, we create a culture that we want people to be here. They're going to stay and skateboard, but you know what? They're eventually going to find themselves back at their desk working. Then they're going to go to get a workout. Then they're going to be back at their desk working. It's kind of like they've created this culture of like a comfortable place that they can hang out and work. And that's how they were getting the maximum amount of hours and output out of employees, but still keeping them happy because they were getting to do things they loved, all under the same roof. I thought it was a pretty interesting, like, answer to why a lot of companies invest in like a coffee bar, like overlooking the ocean. It's like, what? Yeah, it's
we
like,
love it.
That is the premier spot of that office, and it's a coffee house.
Yeah, no, I mean, you guys did that here. I mean, we had a lot of like we had free CrossFit training over here. I was like, this is great, awesome. But I think you're right. It does create a sense of like community, and like someone said this one time where they're like, you spend more hours with your coworkers than you do with your family.
100%, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, like I used to separate the two in my mind. Like, no, business is business and friends is friends. Some of my closest friends are my coworkers or my coworkers.
Yeah.
So yeah, you should definitely, I think I would invite people to, if you're a business owner, invest in what will build that culture for your team and for your people. Take care of your people for sure.
I think for me, we talk about the idea of working remote and being siloed or being solo at home, you know, and versus being in an office environment. And maybe one side of being in that office environment, the flip side of the coin is, I feel like I'm not as productive if I'm taking a coffee break, if I'm, you know, going for a workout, whatever that thing might be. And the argument for me is that if I'm working solo at home as a remote employee and I get like stuck creatively, I don't have the outlet of going and just like shaking things up with like, hey, Anna, go grab a cup of coffee with me. We're going to talk about something completely random, but that might break loose the creative block that I've found that's preventing me from being more productive in that remote environment, right? So I think, and you talk about like CrossFit training for us. Yeah, I wanted to get in shape, and I was hoping you guys would hold me accountable to that. But it was
my shape is round.
It was so exciting to like go and have that like the challenge, the competition, we're gonna sweat together, and then we'll go grab tacos and whatever afterwards. Like
gain all of it back.
Yeah. But like that, there was that
tacos
like,
in an orange bang.
It became a team building event twice a week, and which was so cool, we still
do that, by the way. We have a new
different gym now.
New gym that I found over here.
We missed being able to walk to the gym once we moved to this location. So now we found a gym that's walkable from here, which is great.
Good. I mean, it's great for your brain. It's great for your health. It's great for your team. Like recently I watched that video when I like lifted. You guys were like cheering me on. I was like, yeah. I was like little twig, like it was so fun though. I like running in the freaking sun. I would look at Grayson and he'd be like
throwing up.
I'm like, you just threw up, and I'd be like, it's okay, bro. We're in it together. Like, oh God, good times.
The good old days.
Suck. Like they're making us puke on our.
Yeah, or like I remember we went for a run, and it was like out, and I was by myself. I was like, where the f- are they? Like, I don't know where they went.
And here we come behind you, lapping you.
We did a 5K or a 10K or something like that. I remember, and I think Gary was like on his bicycle, like going
on his bike, kind of like, hey. And I was at that moment when he came on his bike. I remember thinking to myself, I can't fucking do this.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? Yeah, you can. I do want to get into running though. A marathon.
Are you a runner?
Cool.
Ironically, that's not very hard to do. All you do is go outside and move your feet.
No, dude, it's hard. No, I did run like in college for nothing like a sport or anything like that. Oh, definitely not that. No. I tried out in high school, and the coach for soccer, he like put his hands on my shoulder. He's like, "Honey,
this is
no,
not for you.
No.
Turn around.
No, I bought cleats to practice.
Why don't you run yourself over to the pool?
Get your ass out of here. So, but running, I think, is a good like de-stressor. Like I loved it when I was doing it more, but I definitely want to run a marathon. That's a goal of mine. Yeah. My dad ran like 7.
I remember your dad had some crazy athletic stuff going,
right?
Yeah,
he's super athletic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very athletic. So
where else are you finding? Are you finding inspiration these days? What other stuff are you into right now?
I mean, I'm definitely exploring the AI world, like creatively, right?
Mm-hmm. Because you've talked about AI, and you mentioned one program that you use for images. What are some of your favorite like AI programs that you found, and what do they do?
I got pretty stuck on Runway for a while. Mm-hmm. There's another one that I forgot the name of, but it's for music production. Like I've always thought it was cool. I used to pretend like as a kid I'm gonna like
Singify by chance.
I don't.
I've been using that one a little bit.
I don't think it's that one. I'll have to find the name of it so not to segue too much, but Enocean is trying to get ahead of like the whole AI conversation in the agency world, and they're just doing these like conversations every Friday called like AI Illumination. Mm-hmm. We dive into these programs, what they're about, and it's a really cool way of educating people on like what's out there.
Sure. This is when you can take good advantage of having a lot of creative people under one roof.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
No, yeah, and I love hearing like the more like established creatives like, hey, how do you like this? Like, I use it for prompting all the time.
Can you do me a favor? Can you go in there with an AI program and have it? The note takers these days are insane, and have just a note taker and send it to us.
That would be awesome. I mean, the note taking already is awesome. I think that's like a cool. But then I always think like, are we going to lose that skill? Like, are we going to like, you know,
No
but
one's
what does it
actually going
open?
to handwrite anything
I don't think
anymore.
that's a skill
remember the
anyone
last
ever
time I
wanted to
wrote.
have.
Yeah.
Well, you don't think what?
Note taking is a skill anyone ever wants to have.
I
feel like that's
do.
such-
I'm a nerd.
hate
I
taking
ask my
notes.
boss all the time, like, if we're in a big client meeting and I write my own notes, I'm like, can I read yours? Like, what are you
were your takeaways?
writing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I write a little too much, like every little thing, like client blinked when he said yes. Like
Client blinked.
Yeah. And she's like, just, you know, approach it with it. Cause there's a different way of taking notes if you're like in a creative call versus in a client call. But yeah, I mean, AI is, you could prompt it to say, you know, take these key takeaways from.
The Zoom notes are like unbelievable because I always found myself, if I'm taking notes, it's distracting me from listening, which there's a million other things that distract me from listening anyway. I don't need notes to
I
get
think
in the
that's
way
called
too.
ADHD.
I have
Me
very
too!
much
Woo!
self-diagnosed. But that's why I love the Zoom thing. I get the Zoom notes at the end of the call and it's like, God, I got to listen to everything. Now I can go back and look and refresh my brain on everything I just listened to and talked about, make sure it's all accurate.
Yep.
And it's
make sure it's
pretty
accurate.
much-
Make sure
Pretty
it's
much
accurate.
is all accurate, which is unbelievable. Yeah.
I didn't know Zoom had that feature. We use like Microsoft stuff, so it was like pretty
Teams.
cool.
Yeah.
We had a campaign wrap report. It was my first time leading it, and of course, a lot of numbers, a lot of like data in there, and I would like record the internal calls, all internal, by the way. Internal calls, and then I would like upload it and say, dissect this, read it for me.
And to songify and make a song.
And make a song about it. Yeah. They made a song at the agency, and one of the lyrics was like, oh, I just need a Mai Tai so I could find this KPI or something like that. I was like, that's so stupid, but it was funny.
I quit.
Yeah. That's what AI can do for you, man. Just saying. But yeah.
Come up with stupid songs. I like it.
Come up with stupid songs, all
Yeah.
of them. I mean, it would be pretty cool if I could produce music. And you know this about me, I was a band nerd, so I think I always wanted to dive into that. But now
Only
I can.
because I throw it out every time we talk about music. Did you know that's the Hoobastank guitar over there on the wall?
No. I tried playing guitar.
Do
one
you know
time.
who Hoobastank is?
Absolutely not. It went over my head. Nope.
Sorry,
nope.
Peter.
Nope.
We'll talk
Tim-
about
Not
Hoobastank
what
off.
Tim
camera
was
then.
gifted this guitar because he wanted to learn how to play guitar, and it had already had autographs on it.
I already knew how to play guitar, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
you do,
Well,
we have a music
He wanted to
background,
play
right?
a different guitar.
I wanted a Fender guitar.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wanted a Stratocaster.
okay.
And he was gifted a guitar that had already been pre-autographed by a band called Hoobastank. That if we play their song, you'll know the band. Like
Okay.
they've got hits. But Tim didn't want to play a Fender guitar that had Hoobastank's autographs on it. So he wiped them. He removed the autographs from the guitar.
Look how great it is.
That's the one you wiped?
Yeah.
Bro. Would it have been worth anything?
Do you know who Hoobastank is?
Absolutely not.
There's your answer.
That's pretty funny. Never mind. Okay, yeah, you proved my point.
It
Do
would've
you
been-
play that at all? Or just
I don't know. I brought stuff in, but I probably picked it up twice. But I have guitars at home.
nice. Yeah, I got to the point where I got my calluses one time on my guitar.
That's how you know you made it?
Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
you know you made it. You know,
Yeah.
and then I stopped, but because I liked getting manicures instead. But yeah, that's me.
Nice. I like it.
I do have like a little ghost account for Contenta stuff that I hope to come
I
to
saw
life.
your LinkedIn. Your link was like LinkedIn /Contenta or
it's been
something.
like that for like 4 years.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, so like little by little, liking it come to life, and I
you-
bought a domain and like
Oh, cool.
I'm trying to
All right.
like get it to go and make it work. I'm just stuck in between some names, which maybe we can talk about.
Do you remember that actually got Anna a bunch of gear so that
Oh
she
my
so that she
gosh.
couldn't have excuses to not do a podcast?
So you have all this gear and
I
you're
do
still...
have it. I have it. I still have it.
Yeah.
I definitely do. And I remember Mikey gave me so much shit because he was like, Evan bought you all of this stuff and then you quit. You're a jerk. I was like, I felt so bad. But I think I always tell myself, like, I do believe in the universe and timing and stuff. Part of it, you told me, shit or get off the pot. I still have those things because I believe that it's going to happen and I want it to happen. So So yeah, I still have them, and they stare at me.
Well,
I just need to find them in the back of the garage.
Yeah.
No, I have them out. I'll keep them out, and I just think
They're probably on her like dining table, like it looks like she has a podcast.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do when I eat breakfast every morning, you know.
Well, I know I've told you this before, and I'm going to tell you again. I'm really excited to listen to it because I know that you're going to do a phenomenal job at it because you've just got such a knack and such a way with words and such a cool spirit about you that I know that it's going to be incredible, and I really believe in you, and I know that you're going to make it happen.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. You're the same way. I mean, you got this going because you're a creative. You believe in people. You inspired me to do it. And
Secretly, this is part of the reason that I wanted her to come on is so that she could see how easy it actually is and how cool it actually is.
Yeah.
And once you get it going, you're going to crush it.
Yeah.
We would like to request being one of your first guests, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Do you
Absolutely.
speak Spanish, Tim?
Yeah,
Hola,
it's all going to be in
¿cómo
Spanish.
estás, frijoles?
¿Cómo estás, frijoles? Enchilada, blah, blah, blah.
How have you been?
Have you been? Biggest diss was when you sent me Palmer's. You were like, I want to have a podcast. In the kindest way, he was like, psh, my
Palmer's
dad
got one.
has. I was like, fuck, oh gosh. Like, yeah. So, but it lit a fire. So that's what I needed. Thanks again.
Yeah. Well, we love you. So thankful that you came on. Miss having you around here and so proud of where you've gone. Excited to continue to watch the journey. And we'll see you soon, I hope.
Okay,
Yeah,
I have one request. Can we have Svetlana sign us off?
Oh gosh. She needs a shot. I'm just kidding. Svetlana, I'll see like you pig. I strip bacon off back and I fry it and I eat it like you little bitch. No, I'm just kidding. Please do not put that in there. That's just for fun.
All right.
All right, thanks,
Yeah.
Alan.
Well, that's
Thanks,
the
guys.
end. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Thanks. You can probably guess what it is because Svetlana came out really strong. We were doing a shoot with Boochcraft, and we imbibed on that shoot a little bit, and so Anna's got these alter egos, right? So
Yeah.
Svetlana is obviously her Russian alter ego. She also has Tijuana. We
with
found
tequila.
Tijuana is her tequila alter ego. So yeah, it was great.
It was so much fun.
It was such a fun shoot.
Remember, it was like, I'm booched. Yeah. That's what I was like. I was a little booched. I don't drink much, so that's why I was like, woo! Svetlana. I think
Yeah.
you named her, so I don't know. Maybe. Maybe you were booched.
Tijuana.
Tijuana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.